Welcome to Believe in Music. I'm Craig Anderton, president of the MIDI Association. For years, musicians have dreamed of electronic instruments with the same expressiveness as acoustic instruments and could take full advantage of new methods of sound generation. MIDI Polyphonic Expression, or MPE, is the biggest change in electronic sound since the invention of the synthesizer. Thanks to three-dimensional keyboards and other controllers, it allows modifying parameters like timbre, amplitude, and pitch with your fingers polyphonically in real time. Imagine being able to slide notes and articulate every keyboard note individually, press, wiggle, strike, and do the kind of gestures that create musical expressiveness. Let's ask Geert Bevan, the software engineer lead at Moog Music, to explain the basics of this outstanding MIDI feature.
For more than a decade, a lot of manufacturers have been working on new expressive electronic controllers or instruments. You've got the Eigenharp, L'Instrument, the Seaboard, the Haken Continuum, the Jouet, loads of them. The main problem that these manufacturers always run into is there's our great controllers, but there are almost no sound sources that actually react to the expressive capabilities of these controllers. So it's sort of a chicken and egg situation where very few people were adopting these controllers because it was really hard and technologically complex to set up a system that felt nice, and synthesizer makers were not really interested in putting in the effort to optimize their synthesizers for the controllers because there were not that many users, and because there was also not a consensus between the different controllers about how to actually send out the information that makes them expressive. In a nutshell, what is MPE? MPE is as if each finger would be one MIDI controller with keys, traditional MIDI controller. Each finger is capable of doing pitch bends, add timbral changes to the sound, and press down for pressure. So that's three-dimensional control. On this Eigenharp key, I can press down, move up and down, and left and right for similar expressiveness. Now, instead of possibly lumping all the MIDI messages together that one receives over the different MIDI channels, the information is kept separate. And the pitch band, mod wheel, pressure information for a particular channel only applies to the notes on that channel. So each channel becomes its own polyphonic controller. That's it. That's MPE. Just allow people to enjoy, the expressiveness of these new controllers and appreciate how, as a musician, you can really live in the moment and express electronic music by moving your fingers around in 3 dimensions. So the advantage is that dozens of synthesizer makers and dozens of controller makers have already converged on this way of working, and things connect seamlessly. You can connect the Eigenharp to the Model 15 app running on the iPad. You can connect L'Instrument to the Parva, or L'Instrument to the app, or the Seaboard to the app. It just works. When we went at NAMM a couple of years ago, when we first sat down, we were surprised at how easy it was to connect everything together. MIDI Polyphonic Expression, or MPE, is now available as a spec to download for everyone on the MIDI.org website.
Keyboard wizard Jordan Rudess is well known for his work with Dream Theater and guest appearances with artists ranging from David Bowie to Paul Winter. Let's listen to his thoughts about MPE.
Once multi-touch screens came along, I dreamed about creating expressive multi-touch musical instruments, where a performer can fluidly express multiple independent voices. I envisioned an instrument in which moving from a fretless modality to exact diatonic pitches was seamless. An instrument that would be pitch fluid and could also adapt to any temperament. When the MPE specification was introduced, I realized that it meshed synergistically with many of my ideas about musical instruments, as well as the work we've been doing on creating products based on physical modeling synthesis. Our product GeoShred is unique because it's both an MPE controller and an MPE synthesizer.
McMillan Instruments is one of the pioneers in expressive controllers. Eric Bateman fills us in on why MPE has become the crucial bridge between hardware and music.
Back in 2010, we began work on what would become the world's first truly three-dimensional drum pad controller, the Cuneo. Every one of these pads can sense velocity, continuous pressure, and XY position. The challenge has always been mapping these dozens of controls to any given synthesizer or DAW that you want to make music with. MPE allows us to map all of these controls on the fly, whether you're using a drum pad, a keyboard like our Keyboard Pro 4, or any number of alternative controllers we may not even have imagined yet. The dream of making these instruments be truly plug and play is finally here.
This is Keyboard Pro 4, a new generation of keyboard for the future of music. Keyboard Pro 4 combines a traditional keyboard layout with advanced smart fabric sensor technology, making it immediately playable while providing an expanded range of expressive possibilities. Each key independently outputs touch-sensitive XYZ position data. This data can be mapped to any parameter, such as vibrato, brightness, or timbre, allowing you to play expressively in real time with the nuance you would expect from an acoustic instrument. The 4 touch-sensitive sliders can be mapped to anything, providing rapid access to parameters such as octave, vibrato depth, or preset to keep you playing without interrupting your creative flow. Keyboard Pro is MPE compatible, the new standard for advanced expressive instruments. You can play keyboard with cutting-edge soft synths or your favorite classic hardware synths. We designed keyboard with working musicians in mind. Durable construction and no moving parts make keyboard perfect for the road. In studio or on stage, Keyboard Pro is the perfect instrument for the future of your music.
The level of expressiveness you can get out of this thing is pretty incredible, especially playing just one-handed or something. If you want to be able to hit a chord, but then you want that one note to kind of sound like a melody too. It's almost like having like a lead vocal and background vocals or something, where you have one that's just volume and just presence and everything a little further out than the others. So.
You start getting your hands on one of these instruments, and your finger going higher up on the key does that, and you wiggle and it does this. It suddenly becomes self-inspiring, kind of a feedback loop. It was intuitive at first, but then it's actually giving you like more inspiration as you go along.
But of course, no matter how sophisticated the hardware, it's all for nothing unless the sounds you can play are equally sophisticated. Let's listen to some comments from Roger Lynn, a true innovator in the world of synthesis.
I think the SWAM instruments are tremendously important. Nobody else has done what audio modeling has done. It's so much better for expressive control than samples, because samples are just snapshots. SWAM instruments have really shown the power of the instrument to my users, and so many of them play the SWAM instrument. So I have nothing but gratitude audio modeling.
Many users of GeoShred use GeoShred in combination with the SWAM instruments, and we're hearing sort of expressive modalities that you wouldn't get from a conventional keyboard. One of the expressive modalities in Indian music is what's called a gamaka, and when those gamakas are translated into the SWAM violin, it sounds like a classical Indian violin player playing in the style of Carnatic music.
With Dream Theater, primarily I use one keyboard, which is the Korg Kronos, which I've used for some years now. But on the last tour, we were doing the music from Images and Words, which has the song Another Day in it. And when I was home preparing, I played the sax solo live. And it was a light bulb moment, actually, when I thought, oh my God, I can play the sax solo, but I can do it with a SWAM instrument, and I can call up the alto sax and do the whole thing on the C-board. And every night it made me really smile, because I brought the C-board with me live, and I played the alto sax on the SWAM sound. And it was so beautiful and so realistic, and I got to. It was the happy moment each night of the concert, because I would, learn a little bit about the inflection and a little bit about the bending and the way pressure would influence the sound. And there's nothing else that would respond like that.
MPE can also help bring music to everyone in inspiring, exciting, and even surprising ways. Few instruments embody this spirit of adventure as much as Artiphon's Orba, which reinvents the concept of a musical instrument to make music more accessible to everyone.
What if making music wasn't just for musicians? What if you could play any sound with a single touch? What if when you needed a break, the thing you reached for was an instrument? Take a moment for yourself. Because sometimes all you need is to make a little bit of music. Meet the Artiphon Orba. It's a musical instrument designed for your hands. It has a minimalist form factor, feather touch sensitivity, and instant playability. Orba can be as simple as a shaker, or as expansive as a synth. To make the beginner feel like a pro, and the pro feel like a beginner again.
Hi, I'm Mike. I founded Artiphon to reinvent the way we think about musical instruments and who gets to play them. A few years ago, we launched our first product, the Instrument One, on Kickstarter. And now thousands of people around the world are playing it and surprising us every day with the music they're making. We're really excited to be back to announce our second product. This is Orba. We designed Orba with our patented multi-instrument technology. It's a single instrument you can play in a variety of ways, and it adapts to your musical ideas. It's small and light enough to take anywhere, but loud enough to play with your friends. And the design was actually inspired by everyday objects, like grapefruits, and miso bowls, and teacups, and even the way we hold our phones and game controllers. It's really easy to switch modes right on the device. Choose drum, bass, chord, and lead, and you can even record a whole song with the built-in looper. And there's no right or wrong way to play it. You can tap, slide, use vibrato, wave it around in the air, shake it, and even strum through chords. We built a lot of interesting technology into Orba. Its capacitive sensors respond to even the lightest touch, and its accelerometer and gyroscope capture the way you naturally move with the music. And its built-in synth and speaker let you make music wherever you are. Or, with Bluetooth, MIDI, or USB, you can connect to hundreds of apps like GarageBand on your computer or phone and play any sound imaginable. We invite you to join us. We're really excited to bring Orba into the world, and especially to hear the music that you make with it. Thanks.
For the latest MIDI news, discussions, videos, and a monthly newsletter, join the MIDI Association. It's free to individuals involved in any aspect of music, technology, and the arts. Also, corporate membership is open to any commercial entity that designs, develops, or produces products that use MIDI technology. For more information, visit MIDI.org. Thanks for listening, and have fun making music, whoever you are.